Can we talk?
Does being on the case give us temporary immunity? Think they'll let us confiscate a few stray bits? Something on your mind? What did I tell you? His down with the man shtick was just an act. No one who yammers that much means half of it. Take a page out of my rule book. Don't trust anyone. Then it's easy. Hard for them to get a knife in your back that way. People look out for their own interests. It's a fundamental law of nature, same as gravity and conservation of motion. See, this is what I like about you. You may not be from here, but you fit right in. You're not working for the board out of some foolish sense of idealism. You're right. The point is that self-interest is like self-pleasure. No one wants to admit it, but everyone has a hand in it. Enough about Harlow, though. Anything else?
The brochure never mentioned.
What floor would you like to visit? Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
I understand there was an incident at the orchards. The pollination cycle began without my authorization. Fortunately, you managed to save most of the hive. The wasp-ketos are essential to the orchards, you see. Losing them would have cost us months of production. The orchards can be a dangerous place, but my workers understand the hazards. Something about this incident troubles me. The circumstances are suspicious. But let's concentrate on the matter at hand. Have you discovered anything? You have my attention. That's deeply upsetting. Dr. Leora Blossom was an extraordinary scientist and a friend. We have a murderer on the loose, Inspector. As if the death of Halcyon Helen wasn't enough of a blow to our facility. Her commitment to her NDA was admirable. I'll make sure to accelerate the payout of her death benefits to her next of kin. I wish you'd give me a little more information, Inspector. Leora was a friend. But I promised to leave this investigation in your hands, and so I shall. If there's anything else you'd like to share, you have my attention. That's troubling, to say the least. Any transfer of proprietary data is strictly prohibited without my permission. Yes, I share your suspicions. Someone didn't want you following their trail. This feels like more than corporate espionage. Someone's playing with us, Inspector. And I have never in my life enjoyed games. Did you discover anything else? Insisted? That's interesting. We'd scheduled a tour of the lab for Helen. Purely a public relations event to be held sometime in the indeterminate future. Then again, Helen and I were not well acquainted. I can't speak to her intentions. A picnic? I don't recall approving a private social gathering at the orchards. I'll have to make a note of this information. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Was there anything else? This incident at the orchards must be connected to Helen's murder somehow. I don't know how, but I feel it in my marrow. My apologies, Inspector. This case is under your jurisdiction, not mine. I leave it in your hands. When you're ready, I suggest a word with the hotel coroner. She should have finished her autopsy by now.
Oh, sweet gibbering law! Where'd you come from? Sorry, let me just get back in character. Whoa, 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 it's not what it looks like. I'm the mascot for the Rizzo's Rangers, 3-time, non-consecutive all-Halcyon champions. And what I want is to wish you a good day and be on my way. I seem to have wandered into the wrong premises. I have mistaken this penthouse for the Rizzo's Rangers locker room on account of my headgear cutting off my peripheral vision.
Really? Great. I think I even have my spare scalpel with me. The rusty one I never clean, not the good one.
Wow. Looks like you've got some mascots of your own, except they're heavily armed. I am acting on behalf of Mr. Black Hole Birdie, the Holmeister, the Hack Attack. I don't have a lot of time, but Mr. Birdie sent me to retrieve a message. Something he recorded for Ms. Bellamy while he was off his kilter. You found the recording? Oh, well, that's just sweeter than a fistful of purple berry punch. Oh, law, Birdie's gonna slaughter me like a woolly cow. Will you meet me later, over at the pilot house? I swear, from the bottom of my employment contract, I will tell you everything I know about Ms. Bellamy's demise. What? But I can't? Please don't hurt me. I'm sorry. I can't. Not here. I'm sorry. The Pilot House complex. Meet me there, and I'll tell you everything, I swear.
What floor would you like to visit?
You're back, I see. Glad Slug hasn't managed to scare you off.
I think it's more of a wonder that nothing in these law-forsaken orchards has managed to kill them.
How's the investigation going? You got a complete report for me yet? All right, let's hear the details. A drink? I ain't ever heard of no saboteur dumping drinks all over equipment to destroy it. I hate to say it, but that sounds more like worker carelessness.
How many times do I have to tell you this, old man? Slug isn't behind your problems. Slug wouldn't even need to cause you problems. Your own workers do enough.
Ha! Knew Slug was behind the damn sabotage.
Please. We're subtle, but that's too subtle. If we wanted to destroy your saplings, you'd have known them by the blackened remnants of their stems, not some half-assed poisoning.
I see you left a few of them intact even. Smashed more than I'd like, but I guess I'm glad you didn't obliterate them all.
Never did like leaving a job half-finished myself, but that's me.
So what were the fine details of the sabotage anyhow? Were Slug's lackeys trying to get the mechanicals to kill all our waspitos? Of course. And what better way to do that than by targeting our pollinizers? They'd be a hell of a pain to kill manually, but if you set the mechanicals to do it...
In your delusional fantasy, the waspitos wouldn't be out until next pollinization cycle. Wouldn't someone notice the rampant mechanicals beforehand?
That seems like a question you should be asking yourself. Well, yes, it's possible to manually start and end cycles in Hive Control, but we keep a careful watch on it. And there have been no non-Rizzo's personnel in or out.
Stop wasting everyone's time, Hathaway. What you're proposing is infinitely less likely than an idiot maneuver by one of your incompetent workers. I won't hear any further slander. Let's go through this one final time so even you can't confuse it, Hathaway. Slug didn't do a damn thing to your orchards. You're chasing ghosts.
Talk about ghosts all you like, but someone was screwing with my orchards. If it wasn't Slug, then who the hell was it? You picked a hell of a time to lose your tongue over there, friend. I guess I can't force you to tell me anything, but the peace of mind would have been worth much to me. Right now, we of the orchards have to settle things with Slug. I reckon that you're about as impartial a third party as we're gonna get. Can you mediate?
Ah, what the hell. The orchardist seems to get off on complicating what should be a simple deal, but at this point, I just want to be paid and go. The pollen in the air is agitating.
Never like paying bits if I ain't gotta, but you're right. If we get production finished now, we'll be able to pay later. Thoughts, Slug Boy?
I think that's the first interesting suggestion I've heard since our back and forth began. Slug can wait for an increase in costs. I hope we won't have this conversation again.
Inspector, not a moment too soon. I've just finished my autopsy report. Ruth Bellamy was killed by plasma damage to the upper vertebrae, the occipital bone, and the cerebellum. If it's any consolation, her death was instantaneous and painless. I've also discovered a poisonous compound in Miss Bellamy's stomach lining ingested during her last meal. Toxic, but not enough to kill her. Spencer Woolrich complained of a stomach ailment around the same time period. I assumed he was being, Spencer. But now I'm not so sure. Oh, most certainly. Well, possibly they were trying to make her extremely uncomfortable, but I suppose killing her would also satisfy that criterion. The thought occurred to me. I tested this hypothesis by vacating the contents of my stomach and testing for the presence of the same toxin. Slightly elevated levels of mercury and an alarming amount of blue food coloring. But other than that, no. I'm certain it wasn't, as you put it, just the hotel food. Oh, how curious. I do believe you're right. I wonder if this has something to do with the autopsy process. She was Halcyon Helen up until the moment I brought her to the operating table. But as soon as I cut her open, I stopped thinking of her as Halcyon Helen. It's almost as if she stopped being an icon and became a human being. I had a feeling you'd understand. I do keep logs of every patient I treat. Despite appearances, I'm not merely a coroner. I'm also the Grand Colonial's only, and therefore greatest, doctor. Will there be anything else?
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector? Oh, my. Well, that is certainly odd and alarmingly unacceptable. Allow me to check the service records. Ah, yes. Not to worry, Inspector. It was indeed cleaned for you. Except for the evidence, which is all of Helen's stuff. I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please. It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please, allow me to answer any curiosities you might have about our building and the amenities on offer. If you're sure.
What floor would you like to visit? If you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure to get an autograph for me. Just joking. I've already got one.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. Pleased to meet you. What can I do for you? Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know? Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keen's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keen saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off. Oh, Brady was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Brady was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Bertie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them. What? Law, no. Bertie's got a fierce temper, but there's no way he'd ever have laid a finger on Miss Helen. No, we lost him somewhere along the way. Or maybe he managed to get away? I can't rightly remember. But he was definitely not sharing a cell with us. That much I know. What can I do for you? About half my life. You know I was named third most profitable investment on 2 non-consecutive seasons? Ain't a lot of players who can make that claim. Except for the guys who came in first and second, I guess. I spent the last season injured and almost got sold to the Hephaestus Hammers, but now I'm all convalesced, ready to lay into some Cleo darlings, you know? Really break some legs. Since it's the off-season, we're helping support the launch of Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Meet the fans, sign tossball cards, that sort of thing. Just between you and me, Rizzo's ought to cancel the whole event out of respect for Miss Helen.
Is that a woolly cow? Why is that?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Multiple discrepancies detected. First discrepancy. A woolly cow is present in this hotel room. Woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo's Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended maximum. An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club. Insufficient data. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Nice.
Timeline discrepancy detected near a single footprint, size 10, tossball cleat-sized. The soil in this residue contains a very high concentration of oxygen. Well done, Inspector. The weather monitoring station at the pilot house substitutes for a terraformer. The soil in his footprint likely came from there. The charred fragments of a letter lies at the bottom of this wastebasket. Unfortunately, most of the writing is beyond recovery. The words station, meeting point, and emergency are all that can be discerned.
Ooh, maybe they had to put a body in storage. That would be fun.
Someone burned this letter shortly after Halcyon Helen's death.
Initiating banter protocol. Now simulating familiar and welcoming demeanor. Burbage 3001 is trained to recognize all board-approved actors. Greetings, fellow star. Your performance in Maverick Johnston's latest drama was memorable. Burbage 3001 is impressed by your performance. My goodness, what emotion. Has your employer considered transferring you to your company's entertainment department? Banter protocol exhausted. Reverting to default behavior. Grieving and despair. Oh, Halcyon Helen. May your atoms be commended to the Aether. All Burbage 3001 units have our hostility protocol disabled by default. This unit is only capable of slaying an audience. Burbage 3001 was designed to disrupt Halcyon Helen's monopoly over the Aetherwave serial market. This unit's programming is based on Helen's most famous roles. Burbage 3001. Anything Halcyon Helen can do, this unit can do slightly worse. Now running shock and dismay protocol. What's this? Helen's death was a murder? How horrifying. Bring that killer to justice, designated authority figure. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles. Randomizing despair tables. Oh, Helen, is there no justice in the world? Burbage 3001's programming is frequently upgraded to adhere to board-certified standards. The most recent upgrade was performed by Spencer Woolrich. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles. Randomizing despair tables.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, Unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. I'd give you a stern admonition, but your bluntness suggests that you aren't with the hotel staff. Oh, no, this is curious indeed. Who are you, and how did you get in here? You're here to investigate me? Oh, I assure you, I'm nothing special. Just an old crook with more money than time. That was a quote from The Retiree's Revenge, in which I played an ex-thief turned decrepit old man. But, of course, I'm certain you already recognized it. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. Do you mean to say you're not a fan? Well, then how did you get in here? The only staffer cleared for guest room entry is the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Oh! Hello. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in The Marauder's Bane, the absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. Indeed. The agonizing bowel pain was most undignifying. While I've certainly had no shortage of inadequate hotel meals, this was most explicitly pronounced. I suspect poison. And who would be most likely to poison me but Chef Anwar? Oh, we've clashed almost non-stop about his slop preparation. He must have tainted my meal in retaliation. How alarming! Whoever targeted her was certainly targeting me. I can only thank my ironclad constitution that I'm standing here before you. Oh, that's very good to know. Perhaps the poisoner simply meant to incapacitate us both, disrupt the product launch. I couldn't say, Inspector. I'm merely an actor. None that I can think of. I treat all hotel staff equally, and with the minimum level of respect that they deserve. Is that a jibe? Could you imagine the tabloid headlines? Spencer Woolrich, Aetherwave star, spotted in gastronomic distress. Oh, unseemly hardly describes the half of it. Very well, then. Oh, have you now? Please do go on. Don't leave me in suspense. That, yes. Yes, I distinctly recall ordering an alcoholic beverage with my meal. This hotel is certainly bringing a new meaning to the phrase rotgut. Management shall receive the complaint to end all complaints. I did indeed. With Halcyon Helen parading her fame about, I was left without an acting partner. Burbage is no exception. His acting protocols were nothing short of a joke, so I decided to make some modifications, installing him with some of my old serial quotes as, I think, improved his range. The way he bungled about with that weapon of his hardly befitted a dissident, so I modified it as well. He's much quicker on the draw now, though he's still a machine. I'm quite used to being breathlessly watched. Certainly, but one quick question before we begin, if I may. How was it that Bellamy met her end? How awful! Whoever did this must have been quite heartless. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should. I'll answer whatever you wish. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. I'll ask you this. If you'd been the star of cinema for years, then suddenly found yourself scrounging for bit parts while a younger person stole the limelight, how would you feel? In short, the two of us weren't close. But that's not to say my dislike of her was so extreme that I tried to do anything drastic. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me. Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. I suppose that is enough on that grim subject. Oh, must I relive that ghastly event again? My intestines still have yet to fully recover. But I suppose we may discuss it further. Very well, then. I'm sure you're joking. Perhaps I'm not in my prime, but you've no doubt seen the name Spencer Woolrich on many a serial advertisement throughout your travels. You think? I mean, yes, of course. You have, obviously.
What floor would you like to visit?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky bee. This hypothesis is plausible, but requires additional information. Now calculating likelihood of Halcyon Helen using her final moments to endorse Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Low to moderate likelihood. Correct. Bertie Black Hole Holcomb is a registered guest at the Grand Colonial Hotel. Accessing guest database, B. The Grand Colonial Hotel is proud to serve the following VIPs. Bertie, Black Hole. Burbage 3001. This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved compliment. Splendid work, Inspector. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis of this stovetop reveals an alarming degree of grease buildup, approximating proximity to volatile gases and chemicals. Chances of an explosive combustion upon next use currently at 92.9%. Searching slug work logs. No work log found. Creating conjecture. Slug has likely not fixed this issue due to a lack of responsibility on the part of their employees. Most corporations have regular cleaning procedures to prevent damage to company property. Slug, already unlike most corporations in a variety of ways, does not. That or the employees tasked with inspecting are shirking their duties. For shame.
Yes? Are you here for the double rack of smoked sprat? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you'll have to wait. Oh, don't give me that look. Let me see if I can pencil you in for later. Actually, what am I saying? I can't do that. I'm booked for the next month. You'll have to make a reservation. You're the inspector? Here? Why? I mean, you may ask me whatever you want. I have nothing to hide. Of course I did. I would never allow anyone else to touch the meals of so important a guest. Well, yes, I'm positive. Why? Oh my law, this is the end, isn't it? My mother always warned me that the culinary world was too dangerous, but I didn't heed her warnings. Spencer Woolrich and Bellhop Owens were underfoot in the kitchen as I was preparing Helen's meal. Either one of them could have tampered with the food when I was fetching ingredients. Yes, but not specifically. Owens often procures exotic ingredients from the creatures at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. Our guests can be rather particular. Let's not talk about the incident with the Raptidon pheromone glands. It's always hard to say when Owens might be back. If I were you, I'd make a trek to the reserve myself. Otherwise, who knows how long you'll have to wait. Mr. Woolrich often finds the hotel's meals wanting. He seems to enjoy complaining in person. While I could appreciate someone with a discerning palate for once, I believe that Mr. Woolrich simply enjoys the attention he gets from us. Though don't tell him I said as much. If you wish to speak with him, Mr. Woolrich can most likely be found in his suite on the VIP guest floor. He's usually there if he's not poking around here. I understand your reluctance, but... Oh, I just remembered. The kitchen security camera. It'll prove I'm telling the truth about everything. Constable Keene has access to the security footage in her office at the spaceport. If you visit her, you can figure out what truly happened with Helen's meal. Well, it's a breach of professionalism, of course. Why else would I worry about it? Well, I suppose that's as good a point as any I've heard. I may have taken some time to engage in a teensy bit of recreational drinking, and consequently, I may have been somewhat less than coherent after preparing Helen's meal. Thank you for your understanding, Inspector. I'm sure you'll find the true culprit before long.
Oh, you're the inspector. Welcome. Has anyone helped you with your luggage yet? Something mighty strange went on earlier.
What happened? Norval get his cap stuck in the toilet again?
Not today.
Real slick.
Why, hello there. Goodness, I always enjoy seeing guests, but it's been so long since I've chatted face to face that I about hopped out of my skin at the sight of you. Excuse me, I should introduce myself, though you might know me already, just not by name. I'm Bellhop Sullivan. You've likely heard my dulcet tones through the elevator intercom. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I'm glad to meet you too. Now that our introductions are out of the way, do let me know if I can help you with anything. Unfortunately not. I was in the operator room for the elevator, as usual. The camera feed only allows me to see within the elevator, which always has many people coming through. For what it's worth, the murder was a right shame. I always enjoyed the serials starring Ms. Helen, though I did find them prone to repetitive plot structures. But I'm sure you've heard the rumor about what actually did her in. That marauders got into the hotel and management is covering it up so the guests don't run off. Oh yes, Norville's great, always ready to help any and all guests who might need it, and so handsome, too. His judgment sometimes leaves something to be desired, I will say. Kept badgering Halcyon Helen prior to her death about an autograph or something. A little beyond his station. Owens? I hardly spot him. Generally, he's at Mr. Woolrich's beck and call, fetching this or that, helping with his room, and providing as his acting partner far more often than not. Ooh, that was strange. I've never felt quite as pleased as I just was to be tasked with working this elevator for 16 hours every day. Well, yes, but having an operator certifies that the right guests end up on the proper floors. We wouldn't want tossball players rubbing shoulders with CEOs. It'd be anarchy. Plus, there's always the risk a guest chips a nail or loses a ring on a button. It's an extra effort, but the Grand Colonial prides itself on personalized service in all things. That and the elevator still works if I'm ever not around. I do take occasional breaks and sleep every so often. Well, not necessarily, but they're fairly prevalent on the other complexes. It wouldn't take much for them to find their way here. Slug claims they've got the problem under control, but I don't understand why they haven't simply gone and exterminated all of the Marauders like the vermin they are. Oh, well, I'm just here to push buttons.
You, hear about the murder?
How the hell could I not have heard about it? We couldn't even leave our rooms earlier while security was sweeping for evidence.
Well... I hope you catch the killer soon, Inspector. I don't want to see the Grand Colonial shut down.
I was a few minutes late with...
Can't imagine what it must be like. Living down here like sprats on a wall.
I'm trapped. I'm really... Someone come help me.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This collection of frozen food has not been restocked in some time. Many of these items are not available in the Grand Colonial, and must have been brought in from outside. The fridge was transported here from one of the guest bedrooms upstairs.
I'm trapped in room A3. Please, someone come help me. I'm feeling weak. Please just open the door. And I'm not sure how much longer I'll make it. The door's stuck. And I know I need to write a service request, but I can't get it under the door. Is anyone there?
And I won't have any new battle scars.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Inspector, I've detected a structural anomaly within a 0.8 meter radius of this locked door. This floor panel is 0.3 millimeters shorter than regulation length, suggesting unauthorized modification.
Wow, you're...
Oh, you're the inspector. Welcome. Has anyone helped you with your luggage yet?
No, I'm sorry. We don't serve any drinks with those tiny umbrellas.
Wow! I haven't felt this great in ages!
Why'd Helen have to go? One giant. Our hotel.